Welsh steam coal, ready for a trial steaming of Russell. First time steaming on coal. So let's have a quick look at the tools I've got on the table here before I pick the engine up. Of course, the Welsh steam coal, and I made this little shovel here. Just made that, ready for firing the Welsh steam coal. Got a blower here, my electric blower. Got blocks for blocking the engine up so the wheels are free and able to run on the table. Oil for oiling the valve gear, etc. Distilled water, and then there's the pump bottle for pumping water into the boiler. Funnel, various pliers, the poker from my 5-inch gauge steam engine to poke the fire in. I think it'll work just as good. Radio control gear. Then here I've got the startup fuel, which is made from a supermarket log, which is like compressed sawdust, and it's got some kind of igniter on it. Looks like dog poop, so hopefully that'll work. It works on my 5-inch gauge steam engine. Of course, the little torch to start it with, the starters, batteries, etc. So that's the table of goodies for starting the steam engine. So let's put the steam engine up on the table. Okay, steam engine on the table. Put the blocks under the buffer beams, front and back. Now the wheels are off the ground. So the first thing I'm going to do is oil the motion. Use my usual gearbox oil for this, with a bit of rapeseed oil added. Oil everything, all the little joints. Do not spare the juice. Valve rod, piston rod, slide bars, the little end, the other connecting rods, pieces. I don't mind if it drips a bit because this is running in time as well. So plenty of oil, axle boxes. And then I do the other side. But what I mustn't forget to do is if I lift this up. So it's the axle pump sleeve and the ram for the axle pump and the joint there. A little bit more oil on these things for good luck. Plenty of oil. Do not spare the horsepower or the oil power. Now I was asked a question about the water fill. This is the manual water fill connection, and that has a pipe that runs up behind this tank through the lagging and comes out at the top clacks here. The reason the two top clacks are here is because on the original prototype locomotive, the real Russell, it actually has clacks up here similar to these, plus injectors actually up here, but that's another story. Anyway, it's just a tube that runs up and into this clack here. The clack is a non-return valve. So when I want to top up the water, I connect my bottle. This is the plastic bottle with the squirt on the end. Just press it in there. It's just the plastic. Just presses in. This is slightly tapered so it seals on the plastic like that, and I can then pump water into the boiler with the handle like that. Pump it against boiler pressure. But what it's also useful for doing is running the engine on compressed air. So if I have taking this dome off, just tighten the fillip down here. So if I tighten that down, make sure the regulator's open, have my little compressor, and this compressor has, this is the pipe leading to the compressor, this compressor has a plastic cone on it. Very conveniently, just shove it in there like that, pump it up, and hey presto, it pumps into the boiler and the wheels go round. It's going exactly the same way the water's going into the boiler that I just showed you, through the clat valve. The thing to do now is to put some water into the side tanks, which I'll do. This is the distilled water going in. Whoa, overfilled it again. I do that occasionally. These tanks fill up quicker than I expect them to. There's a big patch here which is the radio control motor, which isn't full of water, it's just a separate compartment. I'm used to running a 5-inch gauge steam engine, so I get a little bit over enthusiastic. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to run it on compressed air and make sure that the axle pump is working. Yeah, that's working. You can see that working there. And then if I close the valve, like that, I've shown you this before in earlier videos, that's now pumping actually into the boiler. So, you can hear it rattling a little bit more as it pumps against the pump, because it works against the pump. So what I'll do now is I'll fill the boiler, hopefully without overfilling it. My funnel doesn't fit terribly well. I'm going to use my squeegee bottle. It's more controllable too. So you can see I'm squirting water in. You can see the water coming up in the water gauge there. I want to get it at 3/4. It shows me that the water is above the firebox crown, which is what I want. And you need to leave a bit of space above that for the expansion of the water as it heats up. And put the cover on. There we go. Now here's the interesting bit. I will remove the back of the cab so I can get to the firebox. I'll probably have to run it without these pieces in so I can stoke the fire here. See the firebox door there? Move it around a little bit. See the firebox door there? Nice and open. That's the aerial hanging down from the radio control. Okay,